Get ready for a wild ride through 15 eerie photos of Mars that have left astronomers wide-eyed. From spooky human-like faces to strange cannonballs scattered across the Martian surface, and yes, even a jelly donut, these images are anything but ordinary. Let's dive into the weird and wonderful world of Mars and discover how these photos have changed everything we thought we knew about the red planet. Get set for an adventure like no other. Number 15. Face on Mars. This one's a classic image that's also driven all sorts of intriguing theories about how this head showed up on the surface of the red planet. NASA's Viking 1 orbiter zipped near Mars in 1976 and took this now iconic image of the surface. What got everyone excited is the face-like formation in the upper center of the picture. Many people imagine it as having two eyes, a nose, and some weird hair. Some even claim that it resembles a young Elvis Presley, with a few people claiming that it even was an alien-built monument on Mars. After some research, NASA decided to further explore the infamous Mars face, with a Mars global surveyor taking a fresh image of the face and showing a much blobbier, less stark formation. In short, it's just a mesa and not an alien-carved religious site. Number 14. Morse code on Mars. A view snapped from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter snapped in February 2016 showed some strange formations on the surface of the red planet. The dark raised areas are a series of dunes that look a lot like the dots and dashes of Morse code. All the same, it's striking and almost eerily deliberate looking, the kind of thing that really does appear to have been created by an intelligent head. Unfortunately, the code spells out gibberish. Planetary scientist Veronica Bray analyzed the Duni imagi and told Gizmodo the code word reads out to me. Number 13. The Mars thigh bone. Another picture that quickly sparked curiosity among the astronomer community was the NASA Curiosity rover finding what resembled a thigh bone on the red planet. In the photo description, NASA officials wrote that while this Mars rock may look like a femur thigh bone, it is not the fossilized remains of a mysterious Martian. Number 12. Martian blueberries. Trying to sort out the origins of these blueberries has always involved studying similar-looking spherical formations here on Earth. New research takes its inspiration from these terrestrial analogs to offer a new idea of the chemistry that may have gone into whipping up these Martian blueberries. As aesthetic as the Martian blueberries look, they are nothing even remotely related to plants. The bluish balls are hematite-rich spherules spotted by the NASA Mars Opportunity rover in 2004 near the Fram crater. Number 11. Martian Tadpole. The next big thing spotted on Mars was the so-called Martian Tadpole, a formation spotted by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which could also be considered a yo-yo or a sperm. It's actually a circular crater with a tail that was carved out by water movement. You can infer that water there is flowing outward because they have the necessary terrain height information. While it's widely accepted that the planet had a long-distant watery past, it doesn't currently host any amphibian life as far as we know. Number 10. Martian Fish. There is a fish-shaped rock on Mars, which for some reason shook the entire astronomy world, despite there not being any actual fish on Mars, much less given the fact that there's no surface sea there. The rock shape and the lighting at the time of the photo combined to create the fishy look. NASA has something to say about the possibility of fossilized bones and animals on Mars. Mars likely never had enough oxygen in its atmosphere and elsewhere to support more complex organisms. Thus, large fossils are not likely. Number 9. Waffle-shaped island on Mars. Next up, we have a waffle-shaped island on Mars spotted by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter from late 2014. The 1.2-mile-wide feature is located in an area of lava flows. It's not evidence of waffle irons on Mars, but it might be the result of lava pushing the formation up from below. Of all the things that astronomers could find on the red planet, dragon scales is high up there in the unexpected list. Resembling a dragon scale from Game of Thrones, most fantasy, and science fiction fans will find themselves quite disappointed upon finding out that the scaly pattern from Mars doesn't come from a mythical creature, but rather through ancient landscape processes involving erosion. The nature of the water responsible for the alteration and how it interacted with the rock to form the clay remains poorly understood. Number 7. Martian Spoon. A suspended spoon is probably one of the least interesting things you'll find on the Martian surface, yet still, a long-handled spoon stretching out over the landscape was spotted by the NASA Curiosity rover. Fred Kay, a sharp-eyed contributor to the unmanned spaceflight forums, noticed the funny shape in a raw image taken by Curiosity during Mars Sol 1089, which translates to August 30th for us. It looks like a long-handled spoon delicately stretching out over the landscape, hovering above its own shadow. Number 6. Mars Bright Light. NASA's Curiosity rover sent back a curious photo in 2014 showing a blip of light on the horizon of Mars. The image excited UFO fans who speculated about the light source, wondering if it might be evidence of alien activity. NASA scientist Doug Ellison rained on the extraterrestrial parade with the explanation that the blip was likely caused by a cosmic ray hit, the result of high-energy particles flying through space. Number 5. Mars Curiosity rover's missing plastic piece. Next up, we have a piece of the Mars Curiosity rover, which has been at the center of many unusual object sightings on the planet. A famous incident occurred in 2012 when the rover noticed a shiny object on the ground that didn't match its surroundings. Speculation ranged from jokes about cufflinks to it even being an AOL CD. However, the explanation was a bit disappointing on NASA's end, with them claiming it to be a small plastic piece of the rover. Number 4. Avlanche. Another intriguing and rather aesthetic picture instead of scary is the famous Avlanche, which owes its name due to being an avalanche that happened on a steep Mars cliff. A cloud of particles puffs upward at a steep cliff in this 2010 image from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. According to NASA, this sort of event happens mainly during the planet's springtime, which roughly corresponds to April and early May on Earth. Those ice blocks took a swan dive down a 1640-foot or 500-meter cliff face and triggered a huge dust cloud in the process in May. That cloud is on full display in the image released back then, which had astronomers completely shook. Number 3. Martian Cannonball. In December 2017, a well-known blog for UFO enthusiasts posted a close-up look of a spherical object spotted by NASA's Curiosity rover and suggested it was a cannonball left over from a war on the Red Planet. NASA's rover team responded with a Twitter message pointing out how the concretion is less than a quarter inch and is actually made up of minerals, not exactly cannonball material, and much less the leftover of a war on Mars. It's actually made up of calcium sulfate, sodium, and magnesium. Number 2. Jelly donuts. Yes, even jelly donuts have been spotted on Martian pictures in the past. A jelly donut-shaped object appeared rather suddenly in a set of before and after images from NASA's Opportunity rover on Mars. Some people believed it to be an alien fungus, but NASA was having none of that nonsense. Apparently, the rock resulted because a rover dislodged it after driving over it. If there's one thing we can be sure of, is that NASA still hasn't found any snacks on Martian soil. Number 1. Labyrinth of the Night. Another intriguing image spotted by NASA's Reconnaissance Orbiter was the bizarre-looking formation spotted in a region known as the Labyrinth of the Night, or the Noctis Labyrinthus, composed of clusters of sand dunes, boulders, and sedimentary deposits on the surface of the red planet that were each exhumed as they eroded, creating a mystifying yet still intriguing layered mesa on its surface. If these images of Mars didn't scare you speechless, then you might want to check out our other videos too.